Smile's gonna disappear real quick. Wait until this starts.
Then we can take a picture while you are smiling into a.
I started the other one smiling too. That smile real quick.
I've got this Mongolian guy over here I want you to wrestle
right
with.
in the middle too.
Hi, Doza.
Okay, my presentation on my capstone is gonna,
We will do it in the post-production.
okay,
Would you like an introduction today?
Is there a microphone that
You can do like good.
Not right now, no. We're just going off the room noise here.
my name is Joseph Lee, and the title of my capstone presentation is called "A Comparison Between Japan and America: Athletes Focusing on Sports and Culture." Yamato Damashi. Basic outline of my presentation is I have focus questions, survey and interview, and the results, and my conclusion. Okay, some important points of my research. The mental differences between Japanese and American athletes, the true meaning of Yamato Damashi, and taking a closer look into the Japanese culture through Yamato Damashi. My four focus questions are the four important points of this. The four important questions that I wanted to ask or I was looking into are: what is Yamato Damashi? What's the mental differences between Japanese and American athletes? Can Americans understand Yamato Damashi? And in what Japanese sports can you see Yamato Damashi in today? First, I'm going to be giving you guys a brief little history, or just like what the phrases Yamato Damashi means. Yamato actually was the old name for Japan. This comes from the Yamato era, which was 250 AD to 710 AD. This was also called the Kofun Jidai, or the Kofun era, because all over Japan there were these giant keyhole-shaped like burial mounds. So it's called the Kofun Jidai, which yeah. Yamato comes from the Yamato clan, which was located in this flashing red area right here. They were the strongest clan, and they actually started what took years and years of unification in Japan. So it was the start of the unification of Japan. Altogether, Yamato Damashi means the spirit of Japan, or the heart of Japan. The phrase Yamato Damashi is first heard or read in Murasaki Shikibu's Tales of Genji, which was written in about 1008 AD. This phrase actually comes out in a scene where Genji and his mother, or kind of stepmother, are talking about giving his child education and possibly going to China. Murasaki Shikibu was trying to emphasize the importance of Japan and Japanese people building their own culture and strengthening themselves as a country. So another example of this is how she used a Japanese form of writing called hiragana, which was used by women and people who wrote literature at the time. Most people in Japan were actually studying kanji, the Chinese form of writing. And today, hiragana is one of the most, out of the three, the most commonly used form of writing in Japan, compared to katakana and kanji yet. So basically, in this scene, in this slide, I'm just emphasizing that Yamato Damashi at this time meant the importance of cultural awareness in Japan. From 1890, moving on, Japan won victories over China, Russia, Korea, and so a lot of their they actually started becoming very confident with themselves as a country, as a rising power. And so Yamato Damashi actually, the meaning kind of changed. Instead of being culturally aware to being a guiding race, they also had a phrase called Shido Minzoku, which meant guiding race. And they felt it was their duty to show the other countries of Asia how to be Japanese, or how to be superior than they already were. A key point during this time was Japanese people, Japanese soldiers were so into the patriotism and the Yamato Damashi that they actually formed something called the Tokubetsu Kogeki, which are the special attacks. And examples of this are the kamikaze, where they were giving their lives for their country, where they would get their airplanes and crash into boats and ships to destroy them and themselves. This, although that is the most popular or the most famous, infamous type of Tokubetsu Kogeki, there are also ones where soldiers would run in front of tanks with just grenades or explosives attached to themselves, or they also had boats that did the same things. Um, After the loss of World War II, though, like just patriotism and Yamato Damashi and all that just became very distasteful to the Japanese people because they lost, and they staked so much of their lives into this. When they lost and the emperor like admitted defeat, they're all of it just became distasteful. Another point in this is the national anthem of Japan. Um, it's called Kimigayo. It was made the national anthem in 1869, but became official in 1983. Um, some of the lyrics of the national anthem are, "May thy life continue for 1,000 years, 8,000 generations, until pebbles grow into boulders, covered in moss." The big controversy over this is when the Japanese word for kimi means you, and what happened during the World War II was they changed that you into the emperor, and as you can kind of guess, once all the patriotism and the love for the emperor and all that became distasteful, this like poem or this wonderful song or the anthem actually went down with it. Um, there's still controversies over this. This like during a high school graduation in Hiroshima, teachers refused to salute the song and the flag, and the principal of that school, because of his pressure from the ministry, the educational ministry, and the teachers, committed suicide. And although after that they officially made the national anthem Kimigayo and the flag, the Japanese flag, there are still controversies still today. In modern times, Yamato Damashi has come back. It's not a form of cultural awareness or like extreme patriotism anymore. What it is samurai way of thinking, or the Bushido way. A very famous quote, or one of the models for this form of Yamato Damashi is, "I want to live as a man, I want to die as a man, and I want to become a man." And a lot of people would wonder why dying as a man would come after or come before becoming a man. And in the samurai code, or the samurai way of thinking, you can die in many ways. If you die crying like a coward, then that doesn't really make you a man. So what this is saying is just finish off strong, finish like a man. Um, Other codes in this new type of Yamato Damashi is perseverance, tenacity, courage, and and strength. And this has become a big like this has been a big help, or like something to live by for many Japanese athletes, as well as athletes from Guam and Hawaii. And yeah. Okay. I'm gonna be going into the research, my research form, or what I did to research. I took a survey while I was in Japan. I took a survey of 18 Japanese people, and there was also a smaller survey with 30 Americans. Um, I also did an interview with a famous Hawaiian, Japanese American fighter, Inoue Ensign. Um, Survey info. I did the survey and did the interview to finish or to find more information for the three remaining focus questions. Out of the 18 Japanese people I interviewed, 12 were men, 6 were women, and they were in between the ages of 20 to 45 years old. Here is a Here is a survey that I actually gave the people in Japan. This, no, okay. Results. Out of the 18 people, 14 people watch martial arts, and 16 people could actually name an athlete. Um, 15 people did martial arts or some sports, and with all this information, I figured that about 88% know martial arts, and this shows that it's a big popular or kind of a popular thing in Japan. Whereas in America, people know of martial arts, but it's not really publicized or in the media as much as it is in Japan. Um, for some another interesting little point that I found was when asked why they did sports, um, four people said that they do it for themselves. Four people said that they did it for the teams. Um, five people said they did it because they love sports, and two people said they play to win. While doing my research, some keywords came up. For American people, Japanese people have said that they were hungry to win, or they had hunger in them, and that Japanese people had heart. This heart means not like your beating heart, but like they had that tenacity. They wouldn't give up, or they wanted to finish it to the end, win or lose. Um, they also they also mentioned that in American training, they felt that it was more modern and scientific, whereas in Japan, they trained in traditional ways. And they also said that Americans play to win, while Japanese people um, do a sport to put on a good show. There's this quote here that I found from Joseph R. Smith, and basically it's saying that Japanese people had Yamato Damashi, and that when they were watching boxing back in the early 1900s, that people didn't really want to watch like a really cheap win. They were appreciative more of a longer bout where both of the competitors actually showed a lot of heart, or didn't give up, or didn't do anything cheap. Um, I thought this was kind of interesting. So what I did was I did some research. I went to an American website, SureDog.com, and interviewed or had a survey of 30 people who are considered big fans of martial arts in America. Um, I asked them two questions. What do they think of when they hear the word heart and hunger, and then what reasons they play sports. Out of the when American people heard the word heart, about 60% named a Japanese competitor. When they heard the word hunger, 46% came out American, and the rest of them were other competitors from different countries such as Russia, Croatia, and Brazil. None of those were Japanese competitors. Um, when they were asked why they play sports, surprisingly, 15 people said to win. 8 people said for the love of the sport, and 7 people said for themselves. So although this is just a small amount of people, I found it kind of interesting that the results were similar to the Japanese survey participants and what they thought. Okay, for my interview, I wanted to start off with a quote, not from myself, but somebody else who had interviewed Inoue Ensign before. This is from IronLife.com, editor Jay Sisko. He says, Inoue's name is associated with the words like courage, bravery, willpower, and the phrase never surrender. Um, let me just give you a little background information on Inoue Ensign now. He was born on April 12th, 1976 in Honolulu, Hawaii. He is currently a resident of Omiya, Japan. He actually went to Japan to pursue a racquetball career, but found that he could be more successful and that he actually had more of a passion in martial arts. And so he moved over to martial arts, where he actually found some success. Um, his martial arts background, he did karate. He did karate, aikido, taekwondo, muay thai, and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So as you can see, or as you can see from the information, he's had a quite extensive background, starting from when he was 4 years old. his professional fighting record is 11-8. That means 11 wins and 8 losses. Um, Something that he wanted me to mention and a lot of fans actually question or wonder about is um, when he gets to when he is in like a match, when he gets into like a submission type of hold, he never gives up. And a lot of people have different reasons of why he doesn't give up. Some people say that he's trying to show he's macho or he's a real man, and some people think when he's in a fight he goes crazy. Um, the answer he gave me was he has two choices when he's put into like a submission hold, either to get out or to stop his opponent before something terrible happens. And he says that this is a part of like the Yamato Damashi mentality where if you give up, then you're not dying like a man or in that sense. So he always has a alternate way to finish his fights rather than give up. Um, this is a quote by, Ensign. Okay. um, the next focus question is can American athletes understand Yamato Damashi? In the Japanese survey, 14 out of 18 people said yes, and that's about 77%. Four out of 18 people said no. For the for the yes answer, most of the answers or the reasoning behind this was that if a person is really interested in the culture of Japan and really has a strong desire, then they can actually understand it and master it. 4 out of the 18 people said that it was not possible because of the cultural differences. What Ensign says that anybody or everybody has Yamato Damashi or that drive in them. It's just that many people don't understand that they have it, and so if they find like a passion in life or something that brings it out of them, then they can actually master it and learn it. Some of the sports that you can see Yamato Damashi in today is Pride Fighting Championships, sumo wrestling, women's volleyball, and high school baseball. First, I'll talk about the Pride Fighting Championships. It is currently the world's largest mixed martial arts fighting organization in the world. And an interesting point that I'd like to bring out is from last year's New Year's Eve TV show ratings. New Year's Eve TV shows are a big part of Japanese culture. A lot of times you get together with your family and you watch like a variety of TV shows. One of the most popular ones is called the Kohaku, where there's a red team and a white team, and it's like a music show. At the end, they point out, or the people watching, the audience gets to vote on which team wins, and it's a big thing. This past New Year's, the ratings for that was 35%, and martial arts Pride was 34%. All the other TV shows put together were 28%. I think this goes to show that martial arts in Japan is the popularity of it is steadily increasing, and even without the New Year's Eve shows, there are like bi-monthly shows. So a lot of people are getting really interested or into this in Japan. Sumo is probably like the original Japanese sport. Although many people like baseball now, it is still considered Japanese national pastime or the Japanese national pastime. Um, the life of a sumo wrestler is a lot stricter or like harsher than many people believe. Like many American people or many Westerners who don't have any idea of sumo would think, okay, these are really big guys in diapers and they probably eat a lot and sleep and they, you know, but a lot of things they do like sumo wrestlers will wake up around 6 or 7 in the morning, train for 4 to 5 hours, have a meal, and depending on the hierarchy or what part of the hierarchy you are in, your life is very it can be full of like just like chores and stuff like that as well. Um, right now there's a giant controversy in sumo because there is no Japanese grand champion. The current grand champion is a Mongolian named Asa Shoryu, and he's won 13 times since he's become grand champion a couple years ago. For a Japanese competitor to become a grand champion, he would have to win 2 back-to-back tournaments, And since the skill of this Mongolian Grand Champion is so great, doesn't seem like that's gonna happen anytime soon. And so there's a decline of interest in sumo right now. Next sport I would like to talk about is volleyball or women's volleyball. The Asia Continental Olympics qualifications tournament was held in Japan this year, and for the first time in 8 years, women's team actually did really well, and they won the bid to the Athens Olympics. Out of 7 games, they won 6 times, and with their um, with their success in volleyball, um, just a lot of people were interested in volleyball this year or this past year. Um, this was the first time that well, with its popularity, this was the first time that two different TV stations in Japan actually broadcasted the games. Television and TBS broadcasted the games at the same time, and they also this was the first time that a Olympic team or a team that was trying to get into the Olympics was given a cheer image in Japan. This included their own theme song and a cheer image group, music group called News. They were you would see them like in different places doing promotions, and they were also all over different TV channels just trying to gain support. And because of this cheer image and the success, people were really supporting volleyball, and like anywhere you went, you can actually see like the volleyball game on like those big screen TVs outside in Shibuya or any other place in Japan. Just at a pub where you might expect to see rugby, you find volleyball instead. And so I thought it was very interesting. Another interesting point that I'd like to talk about is while I was studying abroad in Japan, I was taking a course with Professor George Oshiro, and he was mentioning that in Japan people wouldn't respect the national anthem, or they didn't have too much like favor towards their Japanese teams. This was also due to the defeat in World War II. But while I was watching volleyball on TV, I found it completely different because people were actually standing up holding flags of Japan during the anthems or during the games, and people were actually rooting for Team Japan for the volleyball games. So I think that through sports that 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 patriotism and Yamato Damashi is coming back on this, and this can be really seen through women's volleyball. Last but not least, I would like to talk about baseball or high school baseball, and particularly a tournament held in the Koshien Stadium. This tournament started off in 1915 in Hyogo Prefecture in Nishinomiya City at the Koshien Stadium. Um, there are two tournaments. There's a spring tournament, and then there's a summer tournament. Okay. The more popular one is the summer tournament, where it starts off with 4,110 schools, and 55 high schools like enter the Koshien Stadium. Um, First off, there's a tournament in every single prefecture of Japan, and depending on how many schools you have in each prefecture, you can be playing like as many as 3 to 4 games, whereas in a smaller prefecture, you might be playing 2 or 3 games. So that just really depends. At the end, the final team that actually takes the whole tournament will have won 12 games at least. Um, a lot, the whole tournament is single elimination. So if you lose once, you're out. And so a lot of these competitors or these high school students just play their hearts out until the very end, because they know that once you lose, then you're done. And a lot of people in Japan actually watch it because of just how much heart these kids show while they're playing baseball. Also, I'd like to point out that a lot of professional Japanese baseball players like Hideki Matsui or Suzuki Ichiro played in the Koshien tournaments while they were in high school, and so a lot of and also a lot of baseball players in Japan played in the Koshien. Um, in in conclusion, I'd like to mention some things that actually really interested me about Yamato Damashi. Tradition, confidence, heart. I think that like in English, like there's no single word, there's no single phrase that actually captures like all that put together like Yamato Damashi does in Japanese. Um, results, I found that or it seems that anyone can understand Yamato Damashi as long as they have the right mindset for it. Um, some of this or some of the points in this is that in competition, it's not about winning, but it's about learning about yourself while you're competing and putting on a good show. Um, there are a lot of differences between Americans and Japanese people, such as the trainings, techniques, diets. But when it comes down to it, a lot of like no matter which country you're looking at, America or Japan or any other country, that competitors are competitors, and they actually all of them play their hearts out or try their best, even if it is for different reasons. Um, and another little quote I want to end off with is about a competitor named Ise. He was fighting in Guam last December, and he had a broken shoulder. It was actually broken in two places, but he finished the match all the way to the last round. And Inoue Ensign says that that was like fresh or live Yamato Damashi, and the 4,000 people in that crowd like will get got a gift that they'll probably never see again. That Yamato Damashi, that even if his shoulder's broken, and even if he wanted to give up, he held on to the very end, and I think that's what Yamato Damashi is all about now.
Any questions?
No questions.
You actually met, it's
Yeah.
where did you meet him?
Um, Actually, we talked on the internet a couple times before I went to Japan, and then I actually met him at an all-you-can-eat shabu shabu bar, and he treated me out to dinner while I was interviewing him, and then we still keep in touch now.
That's nice. What do you want to do with your love of sports?
Well, martial arts in America is not as big, or there aren't as many opportunities here as there are in Japan. So while I'm in Japan, I'd like to find a good gym and try to pursue like my dream of martial arts. Try to get into competition and see how far I can get.
Pursue sumo?
Probably can't get into that because A, I'm too short, and then B, I have tattoos.
Yes.
You'd be too old for sumo now too, wouldn't you?
Probably.
How old is Asashiro?
Well, he's 20. He's 22 this year. 24?
Yeah.
Well, he's
That's so short.
no.
Yeah.
24 is he? Okay, well,
He's been in Yokozuna for since 2002.
he's a prodigy and yeah.
Okay, thank you. How about you?
Hold on, I'll let you know in 10 minutes.